Star stuff pondering the stars. That quote is attributed to Carl Sagan, the famous astrophysicist. He made it in a reflection on the fact that both human beings and stars are made mostly of hydrogen atoms, hence, star stuff pondering the stars. Thanks for deciding to watch the next video in this short series. They are all drawn from a book I wrote called Immortality: How Doubting Led Me to God Without Being Born Again. You can buy this book on Amazon, and you can download the first 7 chapters of the book for free at the Amazon website. This info will be repeated at the end of this short video. The book contains 8 thought experiments. Try them out to see how doubting can lead you to belief in the divine. This one is called, Are You a Chicken or an Egg? So with that, let's begin. For a moment, reflect on the reality that surrounds you and from which you may have arisen, unless you have always existed. And you can't really rule that possibility out because you don't remember your coming into being, do you? You don't really remember the moment you first became aware and said to yourself, I am. Ask yourself, is it more reasonable to believe that consciousness arose from the material world, or did the material world arise from consciousness? Speaking for myself, I have no idea. That said, I think it's safe to say that what most consider to be the more intellectually respectable view these days claims that consciousness arises from the material world. But how did we decide this? Truth be told, from our perspective, consciousness seems a good deal more concrete than any material object. After all, consciousness is the one thing you experience directly. Any experience you have of the material world gets filtered through your consciousness. The voice you're hearing right now is not really a voice. It is a translation of sound waves picked up by your ears and projected into your consciousness by not entirely clear means. How did it jump from your auditory nerves to your consciousness, anyway? Do you really know? So, to ask the question again, for emphasis, how can we conclude that consciousness arose from the material world and not the other way around? And how do we know that both didn't arise from something else, something entirely different and beyond our abilities to perceive or understand? The answer is that we don't. If you're having a hard time with the idea of material things arising from consciousness, then I would suggest that you notice the design of any human-made object in your immediate vicinity. Each one started as an idea in someone's consciousness, just like the blinking stoplight you've been seeing in this video. My goal here is to point out an error made by many intellectual types these days. Specifically, they assume that believing that consciousness arises from the material world is much more reasonable than believing that the material world arose from consciousness or from something entirely different and unknown. Please note, I did not say that believing that the material world arises from consciousness, or God if you prefer, is a more reasonable belief to have. I'm just suggesting that it is not a less reasonable belief. And therein lies the error made by those intellectual types. If you're still not convinced, consider this. No one, not even an astrophysicist with the biggest of telescopes, can see further back in time than the Big Bang. What happened beforehand? We can only speculate. It's not as if scientists have data they can examine from before the Big Bang. All we've got are theories based on what happened afterwards. Well, as Porky Pig says at the end of cartoons, that's all, folks, at least as far as these videos go. If you're intrigued by what you've heard, then please go to Amazon and download the 7 free chapters. Just search on Michael Francis Evers or Immortality: How Doubting Led Me to God. You can also go there from the book's website, godthroughdoubting.com. The hyperlink should have just appeared at the bottom of the book cover. Sorry, I don't have enough subscribers on YouTube yet for a live hyperlink, so you can also help by subscribing to this channel. I'll be making more videos like this in the future. I hope you take the next step. Thanks. All profits from book sales will be spent promoting the book or will be donated to charity. I can't really fit the goal of this project and the idea of making money into my head at the same time. Thanks again. So take the next step already. What are you waiting for? Be well.